Hello, everybody. Da-da-da. Welcome to the last Beard of Men of Real Estate show of the decade.
The decade. Wow.
It's a long time. We've been doing this for many, many years.
Many years.
Two, right?
Yeah, multiple years.
Multiple years. But this is the last one of the decade. This is a big show. And you might notice, for those of you who are watching this live on the Facebooks or on the interwebs, we don't exactly have the same exact rundown that we normally do, highlighting all the news stories of the week, which is what we normally do, going into the headlines of the most recent. Instead, we have a teaser. I guess you could say a teaser. We have reviewed the prediction show from last year. I have it printed out all right here. And we know who was right and who was wrong. So we're going to talk about that. A lot of our contributors that were on the show last year and made predictions. We're going to go over those predictions. We're also going to talk about the biggest real estate news stories of the year. So we'd love to hear your thoughts down in the comments. So if you think that there's a news story, a real estate news story specifically that we're not covering, I want you to let us know about it. And if you're watching live, you could comment just like Melissa did. And then we could talk about you or your comment. So thanks for commenting live. She said the decade. It's a long time.
And I don't think I mentioned on last week's show, but we do have a BMORE Contributors page that you can go and join. Just search BMORE, BMORE Contributors with an exclamation point, and you can join up there. Consumer, real estate agent, lender, doesn't matter. We'd love to have your feedback. And that's oftentimes where we post a lot of our stories that we're going to talk about for the week. So you get to stay as current as we do.
Yep. Oh, by the way, I guess I should say I'm Ray, and this is Dan. Say hi, Dan.
Oh, hi, Dan.
Patrick Haggerty. He said, what? Change? There has been some change.
Yeah.
A little bit of change this year. Oh, my goodness. We already have should we go ahead and bring him up?
I don't know who we have. We're bringing people on the show, by the way.
We're just going to have special guests all day today.
Let's go.
And here's our first BMORE contributor, Pete Thorpe. Hey, Pete.
Hey, Pete.
Hey, what's going on?
Oh, good. We can hear you. Good.
Excellent.
Loving the Bearded Man shirt, one of the original Bearded Men.
Of myself.
We're all very festive, very festive today.
Ho, ho,
ho. So some of our BMORE contributors are going to be joining us throughout the show to make predictions and also to fess up and see if they were right. Pete was right by a very significant, kind of off the wall prediction that we'll get into later. I just want to tease.
Yeah. I mean, it seems random at the time, like, oh, okay, cool. I mean, it's a fun thing to predict, but now that we're here, it's like, oh, damn.
The sun shines on every dog's butt at least once a day.
He is a prognosticator
of prognostications. Dave Woodson said the more things change, the more they stay the same, which that's a quote, but it doesn't make sense. Melissa Mara said, oh, you are all so festive. Love it. So yeah, this feels a little small. I have a big head apparently because I thought this was like for a normal person. I put it on. It's little snug.
Ray, you're not a normal person.
It's an elf's cap. You're fine.
Huge head. If you see me in person, it's like gigantic. All right, well, Pete, I'm going to drop you back down, and we're going to get back to you especially as we get into the predictions, because that was a pretty huge one there. But thanks for joining the show, and I like your Whoop bracelet. We need to talk about that off the air a little bit. Yeah,
and I'm very happy he's not still at the gym.
I literally showered just for you.
Well, thanks for not being there in
Facebook land.
So yeah, that would have been a different kind of viewer.
Scratch and sniff show. You're good.
Adam Johnson, he's joining the show. He said the more things that are, they are the things that are more.
That's it. There you go. We actually don't need to do the show. That's it right there.
Yeah, summation. All right. Before we get into some of these headlines, Dan, for the last time in this decade, would you tell people what this show is actually all about?
I would love to. Now, when Ray and I met, it was in a galaxy far, far away.
Yeah, I remember that.
Okay, and you remember the galaxy far, far away. You remember that, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it was actually during the Battle of Endor. You remember that?
Yeah, I love that battle.
There was a
teddy bear battle.
Well, there was a thing that the Empire was building that the Rebel Alliance didn't know about. Do you remember that?
The Death Star.
Yeah, they were building that, and then remember you and I, we led that crusade.
Mission.
Yeah, the crusade, the mission to go blow up the thing on Endor, and then and then
was I hairier back then?
You were a little bit hairy, and I was a lot cooler.
That was
And
like
by
the
the way-
easiest one you've ever done.
By the way, I shot first.
Well, 1983, right?
1983. Okay, so I did this one for a lot of reasons. A, I want to get to it one quick. I gave it away real fast with the galaxy far, far away. It's our 83rd show. And that movie came out in 1983. And there's a new Star Wars movie coming out in 3 days. And by the way, it's the last one. This is the last show of our decade. And this is the last Star Wars movie, not necessarily Star Wars story, but not Star Wars movie to ever be made. It's number 9.
That's not true. They're just going to come out with another 3 soon.
All right.
Bless you.
Sorry.
While you're sneezing, Melissa Mars says your head is just so full of tons of knowledge that cannot contain it. That's true. That's why it's swelling.
That's what's really going on.
It's not
So anyway, no, Ray and I did not meet in a galaxy far, far away. We met about 2.5 years ago. We've been doing the show for more than 2 years now. And I guess I could mention it now, but 83 episodes in, I did the math. It's exactly, I'm just kidding. It's not exactly, but we've done about 100 hours of content.
That's a lot of content.
100 hours of content that we've put out for you guys in the last 2+ years. And we appreciate everything that you've, all the feedback and all the views and all that stuff. So you can help us out. We've mentioned it before, but go buy a t-shirt. But anyway, no, we did not meet in a galaxy far, far away. We met on the interwebs about 2.5 years ago, we'll say. Mm-hmm. And I had already had an idea for a show because I am in fact a bearded man in real estate. And when I met Ray, I noticed something very interesting about him.
Yes, he did.
His head doesn't fit in a Santa hat.
It doesn't fit many hats.
Yeah. No, I also noticed he had a beard, and he actually had a format for a show. It's the same format that we do today. Plus, Ray and I both like to give value up front to not only our clients, but to you guys. So it's about being more as an agent, but also being more as a human.
And what happens, as I normally say, we get into some of these news stories and start talking about what's going on. And inevitably, we use it during our discussion with clients all the time.
Every week.
As we're talking about what's happening, and they kind of look to us for the expertise. So,
yeah. Every week I say, actually, I do a show called the Bearded Man in Real Estate Show. Blah, blah, blah. Every week.
So we love to hear those stories. We know a lot of you have told us too that just by listening to some of this, you put it on in your car as you're driving around showing houses or eating lunch, and some of you even take special breaks to catch the show, so we appreciate that. But a lot of you have told us that some of the information has come up with your discussion and your clients, so that's cool. We like that. So today, hopefully, it'll kind of be the same, a good summary. And before we get into that, you ready to transition with our highly paid? I will say that later, as we get into the predictions, I have graphics. We've made graphics.
Let's not get don't expect much, but we have.
No, expect a lot.
Okay.
They are professional graphics.
So we're now in the future, just not with the sound effects yet.
Right. We will be in the future. You ready? There you go. All right. So now we are in what we would normally deem as the headlines, but today is different. It's the annual of the headlines of the year. How about we do that?
Yes.
Headlines of the year. So I asked a question in a couple of groups. What do you think the biggest real estate story of the year was? And pretty much we got 3 of them. Which one of these do you want to hit first?
Let's go with the discrimination one.
Discrimination one that we have not really covered on the show before. I'm gonna Google these live. So if you Google Long Island Realtor discrimination, you will find a story put out by Newsday, and it's an undercover investigation that reveals over a 3-year period there are 25 undercover testers, 93 real estate agents who are tested, 240 hours of meetings secretly recorded. That's kind of creepy. 5,763 house listings analyzed. It was a 3-year Newsday investigation, uncovered the widespread evidence of unequal treatment by real estate agents on Long Island. So I'm going to share. Let me share my screen here. And as I do it, you'll see some of these stats go live. And we could talk about this. This one has not gotten a lot of play. Actually, I'm kind of surprised about it. We saw the news story break about a month ago.
Yeah.
And Dan said, should we cover it? I said, well, let's see what happens. Let's not be sensational. Let's see if more people pick this up. And they really haven't. Inman did one post on it this week. I think since then there may be a couple other posts, but there really hasn't been that many posts about it.
By the way, Pete, with the maybe the final shade of the decade, brought to you by no one because we need a sponsor.
Yeah, there you go. He said, and they should all lose their licenses, but as we know, they won't because the boards are weak.
There
you go. All right, so let me make this a little bit bigger so y'all can see. Okay, so 19% of the time against Asians, 39% of time against Hispanics, 49% of time against Blacks. So it talks about Long Island being divided, and they have the full Newsday story here. They also have video about it, which we won't. I guess I'll hit play on some of the videos, see if you can see some of the graphics and stuff.
Let's see what happens.
Oh, can you hear it?
Yeah. Kind of.
Well,
no, it's not playing.
It's gonna be all choppy and stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway, they have a full video of the investigation, so I encourage you guys to kind of check that out. They're talking about the hidden cameras, all that kind of stuff, how it was done. I won't take anyone. So I haven't looked too deeply into this. This has been on my list of things to really dig into.
Because that quote right there is not.
I won't take out anyone unless you have a pre-qualification letter.
That's not necessarily discriminatory.
But you notice it says speaking to a Black tester. Well,
okay.
I wonder if she said the same thing speaking against a white texter. And
yeah.
And that's kind of the rub here, and that's what they get into.
Right. Okay.
93% or 93 of the agents provided a total of 5,763 listings in Long Island. Oh, this is cool. So this is the map. It says placed on the map or the addresses shown in the communities. Agents preferred blue is white, black or red. Wow. Okay. So it's got for those of you listening to audio, it's got color coded, but the color codes do not follow the color of the letters. So blue is white, black is red, Hispanic is green, Asian is purple. Okay. So that blue is white is. Have you seen that test? Like you have to say the
right
color that you see and not the word. And
so
like orange and a red, and it's almost impossible to do. Anyway.
Right. So the word blue is white, and you have to say the word.
Right, and not the color. All right. So in some communities, they just provided listings to white minority buyers, matching the population of the areas by a wide margin. For instance, the agent chose Merrick for white buyers. 8 out of 10 Merrick residents are white.
Wait, and hold on one sec, Ray. Sorry. They're saying she did not, and that's the terrible part. So she only said it to the Black customer, the Black client.
But she did take out a non-pre-approved white buyer. So that's the rub.
There you go.
Tizak. I can't remember how to say your name, Tom. I'm sorry.
Tom Tizak.
Tizak. That's right. Tizak. I remember that now. She did not. He watched it. So for those of you who have already looked into this. So this talks also about steering people to different parts. And she's also outed. I wonder, so don't you have permission to like publish something like this? Or
is that her name and everything? Wow, that's her name. Holy cow.
Oh, we can watch it too, right? Can you
see it on the
screen? I don't know about that. I have been getting about that.
Yeah. So we got a lot of stuff going through our pipes. So I can't play that stuff for you.
So it falls under, you just can't steer your clients in any way. It doesn't say
anyway, and you have to treat them all the same. I also don't show houses to people that are not pre-approved.
I don't either.
I don't care if you're green. I don't care if you're purple. I don't care. None of that even matters. Most of the time I'm meeting you by phone, so I can't really tell anyway.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Most of my leads come in through either my website or they come through the phone. And I don't know what color you are, but if you don't have a pre-approval, I'm not going to show you the house. It's just, it's not necessarily because there's part of it that it's wasting our time, but the big picture is if you don't have a pre-approval in place and you fall in love with that house, What if you can't afford it? Now I've shown you a house you can't afford. So
Melissa Mara said it's not just this one agent, though. It was many, many other agents that did it. And that is correct.
Right. Yeah. And that's where I think
Tom said she was definitely outed by name. Good. Christina M. Smallhorn said, I'm in my CE classes for the year, but listening to you guys for better content. Oh, thank you. See, we're talking about discrimination, which is a huge thing that I think should probably be recovered in
that is some more good shade right there. Hold on before we go to Christian's comment. In my last CE classes for the year, but listening to you guys for better content. Thank you so much. That is amazing.
Christian Harris said, yeah, you guys should watch the whole 40-minute video on this. It's pretty stunning. The most shocking aspect was that the news organization offered to show the agent and brokerage the footage to give them a chance to respond, and most of them didn't and simply ignored them and saying, yeah, you got me. Shouldn't have done that. I'll do better. Wow.
So
that's stupid. That kind of stuff is frustrating, and it should be. I'm glad these people are outed about that kind of stuff. This is ridiculous. Overall, the agents gave Black consumers their smallest share of the listings in towns with the highest proportions of white residents, and their biggest share was to white, where less prevalent. Were whites composed 20% or less of the population, agents provided 7 out of 10 listings to minorities. Only when whites hit 56% of the population did agents give most of the listings in a community, 63% to whites. So basically they're steering to areas based on race and not treating everybody the same. Pete Thorpe said, I have a conversation and you get one free. Oh, one showing free. So he has a conversation, you get one free, but if you don't have a letter or spoken to a lender and won't, that's it. No more showings. It's rarely a problem. He also said, also, that's just poor business. I'll show you any house anywhere. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so
what are your thoughts on this?
Okay. Well, I mean, specifically for the pre-approval thing is that I actually have shown people in the past without, being pre-approved. Sometimes you just want to meet them, but usually what I'll do is say, hey, let's get together. I'll do a quick buyer's consult. I'll let you know what's going on in the market. I'll talk you through the process. If you're a first-time buyer, or even if you're a 10th time buyer, I'll still talk you through the process from selecting an agent and going all the way through the end. But to me, I just think, and it sucks that she was called out, but I think it speaks to who you are more as a human than as an agent, really. I mean, right. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just would never do that. If you want to buy a house, I want to help you buy a house. That's right. That's how I make a living.
Yeah, so, Christian Harris, in response to Pete, said, which is fine as long as you offer that to everyone and don't treat everyone looking people differently. Yeah. Yeah, I think Pete would agree with that. Tom Tezak said it's all about consistency in the process. Yep. I think consistency in having a process in place protects yourself from your own bias if you have a bias. Right?
Yeah, you just do the steps. You hit the steps.
Right. If you have some kind of unconscious bias, even if you just follow the same process with everyone, then you basically are ignoring your own bias, whether or not it's an income distribution, income inequality, or age, race, sex, religion, whatever it is. As long as you go through the same process with everyone, you're essentially taking out yourself and putting it on just the facts, man.
Yeah. And I mean, I have the same steps. If they come in through, a phone lead, I say the same thing every time. I kind of walk them through, I kind of qualify them, meaning see where they're at in the process, and then ask about their loan, and then kind of get a little bit to know them. Then I try to get in front of them. Then I try to meet with them to get them going in the process. If they come in through my website, it's the same thing. They get a call, they get a text, and then I switch them to the proper category. It's just simple. Then it really comes down to, can they buy a house or not, or do they want to sell a house or not? That's really what it comes down to. Me. It's not you're black or white or Asian or whatever. I don't care. I want to help you buy or sell a house.
Yeah, Christian Harris says Rob Hahn has a pretty good article on this. Also includes a link to the original Newsday article and video. Yeah, and I want to promote this partially because the URL is notorious-rob.com.
The notorious ROB.
I love that. So yeah, huge breaking news that has really not been covered that much. And here's again, it said in nearly a quarter of tests, 24% of agents directed whites and minorities into different communities through house listings that had earmarks of steering, the unlawful sorting of home buyers based on race or ethnicity.
So here's the other thing. It's if you can afford that neighborhood, I'm going to show it to you.
Every time I get a new listing in Brentwood or a new client, I get so excited because they are the nicest people. She emailed a paired white customer. Please kindly do some research on the gang related events in that area for safety.
Oh,
What?
Oh,
they declined.
So-
to comment. Yeah, most of them, as one of the commenters said, are declining to comment on any of this stuff.
yeah. So, hey, we comment on anything.
We
So
comment.
here's my thing on it, and my final thing, I guess you could say. I wish this, yeah, actually, two parts. You know, I'm always of two minds about everything, but part of me is happy that it's not getting a lot of traction because that means maybe it's not prevalent throughout the industry. Maybe it's not running rampant throughout the industry, but maybe the other side of the coin is maybe this needs to be more investigated, and this needs to get out there, and we need to be held more accountable. And those agents that are biased or are sketchy, and we're going to cover a couple of stories that include sketchy agents. They all need to be gone. They all need to get out. So maybe this is a good thing. Not maybe. This is a good thing either way to me.
Pete said, was there a block of agents that actually did the right thing? That's a question. Yeah, I mean, like 23% of them steered. So that means that, what, 77% didn't? So yeah, I think you invert the statistics and you have the ones that did it right. But still, a fourth, that's a lot. That's too much. Tom Tezak said, like it or not, most of us have some degree of bias. That's why the process is important. What just happened? Did you fall?
Nope. I just my cats are fighting.
Okay. So this is several parts. It explains the steering. Gosh.
I don't want to use the word steer.
Oh my gosh. If you find yourself as an agent saying, I don't want to use the word steer, okay, you're steering. Oh, golly. Oh man.
I've said it, but I say I can't steer you. I literally cannot steer you towards anything I want or anything I think you should do. You choose the neighborhood, you choose the house, you pay for the house.
Yeah, but you know, some agents say, I can't steer you. I mean, it's your choice if you want to live on that side of the tracks. Which is steering, right? So
it's your choice if you don't want to buy my listing.
How you say it these days.
So what's the takeaway? Don't steer.
Sure that I'm not missing some of your comments here. The cat fighting is just a typical day in the Ludwig Casa. So in one of the one of the ways that, you know, because a lot of people say I want to live in a good area, and then I say, well, what do you define as a good area?
Right.
I can't be, but I could show you all the houses. I could talk about improving home values. I can look at the stats and data.
You can look at greatschools.org.
Say, well, what about crime? I said, well, you know, you have to call the police department and ask them to provide a crime report of the area you're interested in. They'll be happy to do it. And then I always tell my clients, be sure to get one in the area you live now. That you have a comparison basis, because everyone's always surprised to find out how much crime is in their own backyard. You know, how many reports. They're like, oh man, that area has 150 reports, but they're currently living in an area with 300 reports. So, you know, which they quote think is safe. So I always tell them to get 2 reports, one where they live, one where they want to live. That way they have a basis to compare. And then I don't even look at that stuff. I make them do it. We could talk to Frank. He's in the lobby here. Frank, do you want to comment on the discrimination stuff? Oh, let me bring you up here. Hang on, I'm going to bring you up, Frank. We'll see. All right, there you go. Now you're live.
Oh, okay. Well, actually, I mean, I kind of jumped in at the way tail end of what you guys talk. I have no idea what you're even talking about.
You're talking about the.
Here, I'll comment. No.
Did you? Yeah, you don't have to watch.
And you're dead on.
Just you know, comment. Just any comment. No, we're talking about that Newsday article about the discrimination in Long Island. The 3-year. They did an entire 3-year study and caught all these agents pretty well red-handed. 19% against
doing what wrong?
Discrimination in steering people to certain neighborhoods, only providing a certain list of clients based on race, not showing some houses to some people based on race, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, obviously not cool, right? But so now the stuff that you guys are saying when I tuned in makes a little bit more sense. Yeah, it when you're dealing with a customer, who's asking you pointed questions, you have to have the right way to answer them. You know what I mean? So that you don't even inadvertently wind up, doing some of these activities. Because we all have our opinions.
Well, and this has been kind of, I mean, you are a lending professional and a real estate professional, so you've kind of seen this type of thing from both ends and have heard the argument with the some of the lower income loans and stuff like that, how that works. So I think the lending industry was kind of in the forefront of this before the real estate industry was for a while. When especially the subprime mortgages and that kind of thing came out, and there was discussion about making the regulations tighter, and then how the tighter regulations might adversely impact the minority populations and things like that. Do you have any opinions on that stuff, or do you feel like?
Well, in the lending side, it's tough. It's tough because here's why, and I'll just say it plainly. Okay, what's going to determine if a borrower is going to get a deal or not 99% of the time is the borrower's credit profile. Yeah. Okay, that's it. It's the credit profile.
Right.
Okay. Now, unfortunately, if we start getting into certain ethnic groups, right, you'll tend to find, saying this as best as I can, that sometimes those credit profiles, in certain ethnic groups, maybe not as, overall not as strong as in other ethnic groups. So when lenders don't make loans, to those lower credit profiles, right, it can be perceived from a governmental standpoint as, well, there's some discrimination going on here because those people, right, are of these particular ethnic backgrounds that you're denying these loans. So you're being discriminatory, you're not delivering loans to these certain ethnic groups, right? But the lenders, they're kind of in a catch-22 because it's like, well, that's not the case. I can't deliver that product to this credit profile. You know what I mean? So what am I going to do? So lenders have really struggled with it and have gotten smashed on it by, the CFPB, et cetera. And lenders really, they are now in a position where they just try to find ways to make sure that they are indeed lending more to these ethnic groups, that are underserved, regardless of the credit profiles, right? Like trying to find ways to make it work, and the other thing too is interest rate alone.
Yeah.
Someone with a 780 FICO is going to get a better interest than somebody with a 620 FICO. You're going to get a better. Right. So now you've got that, what's the word they use for it? It's, oh gosh, it's eluding me. Anyway, you've got the disparate impact, right? You've got this situation where you've got certain groups of people that are getting higher interest rates. Well, the higher interest rate is a result of the credit score. Right. It has nothing to do with the guy's color of the guy's skin. It's you got a 640 versus a 780. I mean, it's risk based, when it comes to lending, and it's based on credit score. So yeah, tough for the lenders out there, and they're doing whatever they can do to make sure that they don't, get blown up because of it. There was
a lot of discussion about that. I think it was 2 years ago. There was a huge discussion about that. Some of the regulations around banking was changing and how those would change, and some of them were tightening up and all that kind of stuff. I remember that being in the headlines back then. So it was kind of leading the way, I think, to this investigative study from Newsday. So all in all, I think it's good for the industry for this stuff to be out there, actually, because hopefully some of those agents will drop out because knowing they're exposed, that's got to be hard in their own community.
I mean, that's what I was saying. That's what I would hope. But I mean, the bottom line is if you have a 480 credit score, can you even be pre-approved? It doesn't matter what color you are. If you have a 480 credit score, we got to work on it. But here's the thing. As an agent, am I going to stick around and help you work on that credit score to get it up with my lender and then help you? You know what I mean? So I think there's a difference there. But the bottom line is just don't be sketchy and don't steer people and don't be prejudiced,
Yep. Well, Frank, do you mind staying up for just a second? I want to get into the next story, which you guys were talking a lot about on the National Real Estate Post through the year, we think one of the other biggest headlines had to do with all the moves from Zillow. And I know you guys did that a couple of times this year.
That's what we want Frank on for.
Yeah. The most recent move was getting rid of Schwartz, which we went on your show for to talk a little bit about. But there was another one last week. I don't know if you saw it, where the one of the guys from Zillow said that basically if you use an agent, it's uncertain and you're taking a risk.
I didn't see that, but not surprised. You know?
Yeah, and so they're advertising their own iBuyer program and saying, if you choose to go this other route, using an agent, then it's risky, basically. And kind of steering people to not use an agent. And they actually have a document that shows that they're not getting representation, and they can carry themselves through this process.
Yeah, we've done some investigating, so it's pretty telling.
Yeah, just wait 3 years. We'll have a full report.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm not surprised, on my end. I mean, they've made it very, very clear that, the tide has changed over there. The three of us here have known this for a long time.
Right.
Frank and Brian, we've been saying this for years. They're coming to get you. They're taking advantage of you. And now they've come out and said it themselves. I mean, they've literally bold-faced just said, this is what we're doing. We're going to be taking over the real estate industry. We're going to be the number one real estate company in the world. We're going to buy and sell more homes than anybody else in the world. And we're going to do mortgages more than anybody else in the world. And that's their intent, right? And and they're not stopping at mortgages and real estate. They want to do every single sleeving aspect of it. They're going to be involved in, if a home needs repairs and there's contractors doing repair work, they're going to make money on that too. They're going to make money on everything is their plan. And again, we've said it a million times, just the crying shame that it's been fueled by the agents themselves. The whole monster has been fueled by the real estate industry and by the real estate community and by the MLSs, providing all the listings. The listing agents go out and bust their ass at 8:00 on a cold, rainy night in the winter to get a listing. You know what I mean? Zillow didn't do that. Then the agent gets that thing put up in the MLS and it goes to Zillow, and instantaneously Zillow starts making a bunch of money off the leads generated off of it, right? Instantaneously. And they use that money to fund their agenda, which is, in the future, that person will just list with me instead of you. You know, that's the Zillow story, and that's the Zillow circle, and that's what it's been, and that's what it is today. And, I don't know, how we stop it. All I know is if Zillow doesn't have any listings, they have nothing.
I think the basic problem is it wasn't with Zillow, it was with our industry. When someone would inquire on a property and our industry wouldn't call them back, Zillow did. And when Zillow would connect them with an agent and made sure that agent took them through the rest of the process and then they closed, guess who keeps contacting them?
No, right.
Sometimes it's the agent, but Zillow does it every single time. So then when it comes time for them to resell their home, where do they start? With the one who's been sending them emails every week, every month, staying in touch. How are you? What other services can we provide? Here's what else we're doing. And it's the same model that agents were using for years, but agents got lazy and stopped doing it because it was easy to stick a sign in the yard and sell in a day. Well, it's not going to be like that forever. So I'm wondering though, so was that this year that Zillow switched to also home loans, or was that last year?
No, it was this year. I think it was early this year. Yeah, they they bought that mortgage company, and it kind of flopped, and they didn't really put it together very well in the beginning. But since then, they've revamped it or something and restructured it or whatever. And now they're really making a push toward the mortgage side.
Now they're offering a credit if you use their lender.
Oh, great.
Yeah. It reminds me of the KW mortgage.
Yeah.
Right.
That they'll offer you a credit if they use their in-house lender too.
Talk about steering.
Yeah. Oh, big time, right? I mean, big time. Yeah. And of course, obviously KW responding, to what Zillow's doing, trying to, catch up. If
it's a race to the bottom, really.
Yeah, it kind of is.
Yep.
There was an article, and I wish I could find it. It was, because I saw somebody posted it. Maybe you guys ran across it, and I think it was a realtor.com. article where it pointed out that even with all the fintech stuff and the iBuying and the Zillows of the world and everything that's going on, in the recent buyer surveys, it was still like just an insane amount of consumers, like in the 90 percentile or high 80 percentiles though range, that still wound up connecting or being connected to the real estate agent through referral. It was
Right.
it was still a very small percentage of people that were saying that I wound up working with my agent because I found them online.
Yep.
Or anything like that. So, it was people actually still getting the referral,
Yeah.
So, we do have all this doom and gloom and these dark literal clouds, right? The dark cloud coming down and oppressing us, but there's still absolutely, a spot for us, today anyway.
Yeah.
Going forward and just making sure we're doing that due diligence, just like you guys were saying. It's like, Zillow's going to stay in touch with them forever. Well, you could stay in touch with them forever too.
Yeah, we could also do phone calls. We could also focus on an incredible customer experience every time.
Right. You could do all that stuff too. And you can ask for referrals. And we've always said this: the place that you win is being local. You can't. Right. Zillow can't meet with them in a coffee shop, and shoot the breeze and get to know them personally and get referrals out of them. But you can, at your level. So.
I think here's a good summation. Clayton Fernando Estrem says, if only we had a website to market properties that we pull from the MLS, owned by agents, ran by like an organization that is
something. And last week, the week before, we're starting our own called the National Association
of Real Estate Agents.
No, National Association of Associated Agents or something. It's NAR.
Nice.
Yeah, NAR. Nice. Yeah, something like that. Anyway, we'll put more out there in the future.
Are you going to have the Ray's email instant offers program?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yep,
on there.
Be more bids. I think we're calling.
It's called Be More Bids.
Be More Bids. There you go.
Well, thanks for joining the show, Frank. And you guys check out his show too. Are y'all on Facebook as the National Real Estate?
Yeah, no, it's actually on Facebook as Frank and Brian.
Okay, so check out Frank's show.
And Brian, yeah,
it's a really cool show. So
that was years ago. We weren't sure what the heck was going on with us, so we figured, well, one thing we do have is us.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Yeah. So we'll brand us, and then our show brand is just kind of followed along with Frank and Brian. So yeah, Frank and Brian on Facebook.
Yeah, really cool show. National Real Estate Post online, so check them out. And thanks for joining us on BMORE today.
Always a pleasure. You guys have a great Christmas holiday, whatever you celebrate. I don't care, whatever it is. Enjoy it.
Your beard looks nice, by the way. It's looking good.
Right? So it's not, you guys are so much younger than me. You wait. Your white beards are right around the corner.
By the way, I'm not younger than you.
Yeah, you are. No. And if you're not, that's scary for me.
All right, man. We'll see you next time.
Adios. See you guys.
That's good. So are you guys ready to get into some of the predictions? Or let's see, there's one more kind of. The biggest other thing, I guess we could kind of fold into the predictions because I think it was almost one of the predictions that was coming true. Is a little bit of the lack of innovation of the MLS.
Yes, and then it because that was a prediction that we made that you made.
Yeah.
So here, wait, I want to do one more before we do that.
Okay.
Remember the story about and this is a really non-story, but it was a big one. It still is a big one, but NAR's being hit with a class action lawsuit about buyer broker compensation. Remember that one?
Yeah.
That one popped into my head during, I don't know what part of it, but it's a big one because they're attacking how essentially brokerages get paid.
Right.
Okay. So, but what it boils down to is that that's all negotiated. Everything's negotiated,
right?
As far as a commission goes, my commission is negotiated. It's all agreed upon and signed to, but there's still a class action lawsuit saying something. It's saying that it doesn't
collusion on the buyer side of on the buyer agent compensation.
Yeah,
there is collusion among those in the industry of what to pay the buyer's agent, which is different from city to city. Which that's
and for us though, it's all agreed upon. The seller pays it all. It's all agreed upon, agreed to, and then signed. And then It's all agreed to and then signed, and then it's disclosed in the MLS what that buyer's agent is getting paid. So right. It's not necessarily public knowledge, but it can be public knowledge. It's not really something we want to hide, but we're not, it is what it is. What that seller wants to pay or can pay is what's being paid out. There's agents out there that offer $1.
Yeah. And we have someone just said I keep getting kicked out. Oh, the Wi-Fi. Okay. We're just checking the BMORE contributors in case somebody wanted to jump on.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't think there's a leg to stand on that, but I'm anxious to see how that unfolds, and obviously it'll take maybe another year.
Yeah, it is a big story.
I think the year, but
I think it's just going to play out and kind of go nowhere. But it was a big one, and it's still happening. And then more people jump into the lawsuit, so it's something that we will fight against. But because we do disclose it and we do negotiate it, and we are, we don't hide anything and then go, oh yeah.
Right.
You're paying $72,000 to me. And then I'm, what I mean? It's just not. So anyway, it's a big one, but if you want to jump to the predictions, I went through, I actually watched last year's show last night and went through.
Our crack research team actually summarized all the predictions in 2 pages. And by crack research team, I mean, Dan Ludwig.
Yeah.
Look at all this. This is like real deal stuff here. High level. We have bullet points and everything. So impressive.
And it's got what Ray and I predicted. It's got a little extra from Ray and I. It's got bonus predictions from BMORE contributors and fans of the show. So jump around there if you want to go into the.
Let's start at the top. Let's start at the interest rates.
Okay, cool. So we were dead on.
Yeah, we were dead on. Dead on something. Dead on.
Dead in the water
for the purchase rate for a 30-year fixed.
I even broke down how you searched it.
Okay, so I'm going to search again. Purchase rate for a 30-year fixed.
Like right now.
We looked at Wells Fargo. This is what we looked at last year.
Wells Fargo.
Said there's Quicken. Okay, so Wells needs to buy AdWords again. I mean, that's why we used them last year because they were at the top. All right, here they are now at the bottom. You're like number 6 there, Wells. Okay, so
Wells needs greater SEO
first. All right. Marcus Necessary, hopefully he's on the show. We tagged him. Marcus Necessary said he predicted a 5% even.
Yep.
Adam Johnson predicted 6.5. Let me just wait. All right, Marcus Necessary. This is part of the graphics. I'm going to show the graphic whenever I'm going to reread it.
Ooh,
Marcus,
nice. I'm excited.
Said an even 5%. It's wrong. It's our graphic. Adam Johnson said 6.5%. Is it correct?
Wrong.
Melanie Hay said, I didn't tag her. Melanie Hay said, I can't see them going above 6 unless we have major upheaval. So her prediction was under 6, which is a little vague, but technically correct.
But didn't she go on to say, I think she went on to say a little bit closer around the 5-6 range, but we'll give her the part because we love her.
So Melanie, she said 5.9%, which is actually incorrect.
Melissa, sorry, that's Melanie.
Clayton said they go up 0.5 to 0.75%. And at the time, they're 4.625. So that would be 5.1-ish would be.
So
he is incorrect. This goes to show you what great predictors real estate agents are. And for us, because obviously we're hosts of the show, so we have far better chance of getting these right. Dan said 5.75, 5.6 to 5.75. So he took the under, but that was
the under.
That was his top. I would say he's wrong. Under that, but it's not nowhere near that. And then I picked the over, 5.9%, 5.75, and I am actually incorrect.
By the way, which is, I mean, I've predicted a couple things, and Ray has predicted a couple things, a couple crazy things. Not necessarily as crazy as what Pete predicted, which we'll get to, but
it seemed crazy at the time.
It did not at all. And looking back, it seems crazy that we're still here. What did Wells Fargo say right now? What
interest rate? 3.75. APR 3.865.
They went down almost a full point.
Yeah. So Clayton Fernando Shrim says, I meant down.
Right.
Melissa said, look at you with the cards. It's graphics. Clayton doesn't want to talk about his wrong predictions.
They're not cards, they're graphics, Melly.
They're graphics. They're high. I mean, I went to Canva and created these graphics. All right, so we were wrong.
You needed to go to Canva.
I went to Canva. We were wrong with those predictions. So let's take predictions for next year. Should we go ahead and get these predictions for next year since we're already talking about the interest rate? It is.
Yeah.
It's currently. It is currently 3.75% on the interest rate on Wells Fargo page. So where do you think they will be next year? Are we finally going to go up, or are we going to go down?
Okay, and remember, there's an election next year. So, but the election. Okay, now Ray, you can speak to this because you've been a realtor through many elections since 1972. He's been a realtor.
Yeah.
So he remembers Ike and all that stuff. But what have elections done because you've been since 2006, right? So you saw 08, 12, and 16. What did it do? Okay, forget 08. That was crazy. But I mean, what did it do to interest rates? And I'm asking for myself right here because
So the interest rates have basically not really done much on election years. They basically stay the same because the Fed doesn't do much to make any adjustments because knowing that the next administration is coming in.
Kevin Benzinger, dude.
Oh, Kevin. All right.
2.99.
I'm writing it down.
Woo!
2.99.
That is bold, Kev. Whew, I love it. I love it.
Kevin Benzinger.
I'm teetering his way, man. So our current president has said he's talked a lot about negative, interest rates, and that dude can influence some stuff. So I'm not making my prediction yet. I'm just saying that 2.99 is not crazy. That seems crazy, but that's not crazy.
So what do you think? Where are you on this?
You first, because I went first last time.
I'm gonna go 3.25. I think they're gonna go down 3.25.
Okay, so 3.25.
Yeah, I think the thing with China is gonna shake out.
Yes, and it's currently shaking out. I've been watching that pretty intently.
And I think one of the things I underestimated is we have a president that was a realtor who does have a mind on the economy and housing. And I think housing affordability is still an issue and will carry forward. So I'm gonna say 3.25. Oh, Melissa Mara there with the 3.15%. She is in.
So
fearful to fearless.
It's crazy to me to think that they'll stay low, but everything we've talked about all year, well, I guess for the last 6 months, has said that they're going to stay or go lower.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with
last year. All the news stories said it was going to go up. Just
right. I'm going to go 5.6. No, I'm just kidding. I'm going to always predict 5.6 to 5.75 every year for the next 20 years until I'm right. No, I'm going to say they're going to go down as well. What are they at right now? 3.75?
Yeah.
I think it's okay. There we go. So that's about what I'm going to say. This is Clayton. He says, I think it will stay within 0.75 of where we are now, and the amount of sales will go up, but inventory will grow. Ooh, that's part of my other prediction.
So that's a wide range, Clayton. I'm going to need you to tighten that range a little bit.
He doesn't want to commit.
He's a non-committal committist. So he thinks 3. He thinks 3 or 4.2, 4.5. That's a huge range. If you
I'm going to say, so here's what I'm going to say, and I'll come back. I think they are going to go up and maybe push towards 4. I can't see them going over 4, but then they'll come back and then they're going to hover around where they're at now and then end up at 3.5.
Okay. So you got
very, very specific. I predicted the entire year.
So 4 and then back down.
Yeah. So we can literally look back at the thing and then, if Bernie wins, we all get free houses.
There you go. If Bernie wins, Melissa Marr said below 1% across the pond in Europe. That's crazy.
So that's the thing, though, that gets crazy when you talk about negative is that now lenders are giving away money. They're not making any money back. Right. That's why that can't happen. It can. Right. There are negative loans out there, but he has commitment issues.
So, and if you're watching this later, he said he thinks it depends on who wins the elections. But
although it says
the end of next year, so
that's what I was going to say because
they're not inaugurated until January. So the policies won't take place. The fears will, but the policies won't take place.
Hey, Ray, bring Clayton's comment back up.
Oh, wait, what's that?
Because it says commit me tissues.
Me too.
He forgot an N in there. So that's why I asked Ray about the elections, because it is at the end of the year. Remember, the same president or the new president doesn't actually take office until January 20th.
Right. Unless
something happens, which
we get into.
What? I almost gave it away.
Let's go into prediction 2, because we gotta keep it moving a little bit here.
Yes.
So if you're watching this later and you want to make a prediction, just put it in the comments, and then we will tag you and reference you in a year.
Yeah, because I literally watched the entire. I think I got everyone's as we predicted them. So I watched all the predictions part and wrote it all down.
What type of market will we be in?
Okay, this one's awesome. So
Pete Thorpe. I'm going to save the winner for last. Okay, because that was pretty insane. Dan said 258 actives in Rancho, sold 600-ish last 6 months.
Here, let me go. I want to. Can I cover this one real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so this is last year. On the show, I said there were currently 258 actives then in Rancho, sold 600, a little bit more than 600 last 6 months. In the last 6 months. So that means about 3 months of inventory, right?
Right.
Okay, so 258 last year, 268 actives right now. How crazy is that? About the same. That's pretty much a wash.
Right.
Sold just over 600 a year ago for the last 6 months. Sold 868 in the last 6 months. Do you know what that means? That means there's under 2 months of inventory right now, which means what, Ray? We're in a seller's market.
Yeah.
So I predicted that we'd be a full buyer's market by the end of 2019.
So you are wrong.
Yeah. Now, I do have to. I still don't, because buyers aren't as picky. So there's still not this crazy frenzy. So it's still.
There's no rationalization for how wrong you are.
No, there is. No, I know. You still do the graphic. I'm not saying I was right or wrong. I just thought, because I said straight up full buyer's market.
Yeah.
But when you look at the numbers, because I still don't. And by the way, that's everything in Rancho. If you go over 600 or 700, things sit longer. That is a straight up buyer's market. But the mid and lower is that's still a seller's market.
Yeah.
By definition, by the numbers, yes. But buyers are picky and they're still not jumping on things. So bidding wars just aren't happening as crazy right now, unless it's the crazy 10 out of 10 house, blah, blah, blah.
Okay. So I said, I thought the market was moving faster than people anticipated.
Yes.
Not that I would go a full buyer's market. Thought there would be lingering inventory approaching 5 months supply. I didn't think we would hit 6 or 7 months supply. So Ray predicted a neutral and 2020 would shift to buyer's market. So we can't figure out exactly what 2020 is going to do yet, but 2019 would definitely still leaned seller, and our market is still around 3 months of supply. So a neutral market would technically be 4. So technically
you're wrong.
Just by a little bit. I was like,
and by the way, it is tough because in my market, and for both of us, because Ray does have your average price point is 170, 220.
Market average is 170. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, sorry, not Ray's average, market average.
Yeah.
But he does have higher end stuff. Just my city alone has 300 all the way up to 1.6 million. So there is a big discrepancy there, but we're predicting markets. I'm not trying to justify it. I'm just saying. And also I'm in Southern California. Ray is in Central Arkansas. So
Arkansas. You remember though, how everyone was predicting a massive buyer's market shift in 2019?
Well, that's what all the stories
was saying. Buyer's market's coming. Yeah. And it just didn't.
And I think I noted it. Did I note it in the bonus?
The
Zillow and Redfin.
Necessary said under 250K.
You're still saving it, aren't you?
Do what?
You're still saving. Yeah.
Saving it. Neutral was over 500. There would be a buyer's market. No change essentially. So he was correct.
Right. Yes. He broke down the 3 market.
Got it right. Yeah.
Yay, nice work,
Mark. Correct. All right. Clayton said a neutral market as a whole. Clayton, are you correct? He said his area is up 3% from 2018. Market is pretty even, unless you were super updated in turnkey. So even, neutral, I would say that is correct.
Although, I mean, I trust him, but he's probably lying so he can get the check.
Yeah, totally.
God, Clayton, come on, man.
Melanie said a second buyer's market. Everything else is neutral. So did you get that correct, Melissa? Oh, wait, that was Melanie. No, that was Melissa. You said Melanie.
Yeah.
So that's Melissa. Melissa Mars said second home buyers market, everything else is neutral. Is that correct? Zillow and Redfin predicted a buyer's market would hit in 2020.
In 2020.
Right. Adam Johnson said building starts are down. We aren't going to see a buyer's market for a long time. Adam Johnson is correct.
That's a good one. I like that.
All right. And for the win, I'm going to add him, even though he's driving.
Is he still there?
Yeah. He totally won this thing.
He won.
All right. What's happening, Peter?
What's going on?
What did you predict?
Would happen in 2019?
I said neutral, which was correct.
Yep.
But depending on what was going on with the possible impeachment.
With impeachment? What? Where did that come from?
Yeah, just keep flashing the chat.
Shot in the dark.
What? That's huge. So Pete Thorpe predicted a president would start the impeachment hearings would start against the president, and was absolutely correct. So not only did he get the market conditions, he also got the politics, which makes him the front runner for a campaign manager for maybe Trump or somebody.
Well, I don't know about that.
Well, you don't have to like them. You don't have to like them to work for them and make a lot of money.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
On the interest rates thing, though, we did have a little swing there where it was up pushing 5. I thought a few were over 5 for a short stretch before it came back down. So
yeah, it
was trending that way.
I thought I was headed the right direction, and then total fail.
We did early in the year, remember? And then it just went down, down, down.
Which is a good thing. I mean, I'd rather have rates stay relatively stable and keep them under 5. It's better for first-time buyers, and it's just better.
Well, I just think with affordability being a concern, they have to kind of stay low. So,
yeah.
So, Pete, while we have you, and if you're watching the show, please drop your prediction for next year's market into the comments because we want to know. Clayton said, "I'll send you the data after I get done barbecuing." Oh, okay.
By the way, he might be using his new BBQ sauce later. That I don't know who sent him that. I don't. And
those would be more contributors. Not Dirty Santa. It was a Clean Santa thing. It was a gift exchange thing, right?
Yeah.
And I got barbecue.
And I also don't know who sent him the bunny suit either. So
yeah, it's pretty amazing. Okay, so Pete, while we have you,
yes,
what is your prediction? Since you're Nostradamus for next year's market?
Well, I'm going to go with what I posted in the contributors group. I think the market's going to stay relatively neutral for up until July. And then once we know who the Democratic nominee is, that will dictate which way the market goes. If it is somebody like a Sanders or a Warren, I think everything.
Uh-oh. He cut out. No. Sanders or a Warren. If it's a Sanders or a Warren, I can fill in for him. He thinks everything's going to be hunky-dory and everyone gets free houses. Oh, now you're back. So you said if it's a Sanders or a Warren, what was happening?
Oh, if it's a Sanders or Warren, I think everything freezes. I think people will not buy. People will be scared about what's going to happen with jobs. And it will be like, oh, my God, what's going to happen?
Right.
If it's a Biden type, somebody who's a little more moderate, then everything will kind of cruise along saying, okay, we're either going to get more of the same, or if it switches over, it's not going to be some shock and awe campaign of we're going to burn the world down and reform this republic.
Yeah.
All right, wait. There's some shade being thrown between Clayton. Clayton says, Melissa Martin, no one cares what you said.
Brought to you by We Still Need
Totally true.
I already said what she said. She said the second home buyers market, everything else is neutral, and we asked if
we did
that is correct. So you have to do your research.
That's what we asked you. You did say, and we brought up. So you have to do your research if you get a check or a no check.
Yeah. There you go. All right. So Pete with Nostradamus. Thanks for joining us in this segment. Let me see if you got any more significant correctness. I think that was your most correct thing ever. It's hard to top that. It's hard
totally
to top
ever.
I don't think you can. Yeah, I don't think you can top that, man.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll see if we can pull you back in a little bit, but I don't want to distract you while you're driving.
I'm about to pull up to the dealership and park myself and do a little work while they work on my whip.
There you go, man. I'll talk to you later. Thanks for joining the show.
Thanks, dude.
Yay, Pete with the monster prediction.
That is a dedicated contributor right there.
Prediction and on the show while driving. Love it.
Okay, so I wanted to go back to
getting tight. It's squeezing my head.
Okay. You got to make it through.
So prediction number 3. Big prediction.
Wait.
Oh, wait.
Don't we have to predict this one?
We want to predict it first?
No, I mean about what kind of market are we going to be in?
Oh, yeah. We should do that. What do you think the market will be?
So I'm going to say, and I can't predict impeachments. I can't predict who's going to be the president or the nominee, whatever, because, well, that gets me off a topic here. So I'm just going to say that because part of my prediction, I have 2 big, bold predictions at the end here, but I don't want to give it all away. But I just still don't think inventory is going to loosen up. I don't think there's going to be enough. Just because at this point to switch to a buyer's market. Now, by the way, I'm saying my whole market, so again, I could be wrong. I'm not breaking down the 3 different markets, but a lot of inventory would have to come into the market, like a lot, like 25% more. We're under 2 months supply right now, Ray.
Right.
A lot would have to flood in over the next year. And by the way, on this one, I hope I'm wrong.
What do you think the months of supply will be at the end of 2020?
I think they're going to be relatively the same, hopefully at 3 to 4 months is what I'll say.
3 to 4 months.
Which is almost a buyer's market. So I think everything we've been talking about for all the stories we've been saying, Redfin and Zillow and all these things, predicting a buyer's market for 2020, I think they're going to be half right, but I don't think we're there yet because not enough baby boomers, and I'm foreshadowing, I don't think enough baby boomers are going to sell their houses yet in 1 year.
Clayton predicts new builds won't be able to keep up with demand and pre-loved homes, even in Houston.
Yeah, exactly. Because we've talked about that. New builds cannot keep and are not keeping up right now, especially in the affordable brackets.
I'm changing my marketing to pre-loved homes.
I love it. Okay, so
you think it'll still be he thinks it's an even market? Oh, even market in Houston.
I think I'm going to say it'll be teetering towards a buyer's market.
So Clayton goes neutral, takes a huge risk and goes neutral again. Dan said, what'd you say? What was the final?
I'm going to say still sellers, but teetering towards a buyers with more inventory than there is currently right now.
I'm going to put you at a 3.5. That's kind of that definition, right? At 4 months is kind of
supply. Yeah, sure. All
right, 4.5 months supply. I'm going to say I'm kind of headed that direction too. So if we're at 3 months of supply right now, in order for us to get to 4 months of supply, we only have to have 1/3 more supply. And I think that will happen. So I'm going to say
I need a bigger jump for that to happen.
I'm going to say 4 months of supply. You actually need to double your current supply to get to 4 months.
Right.
And not double the number of buyers.
Exactly. So if interest rates stay low and the economy stays strong, buyers can't be flooding to the market.
Strim says Zillow says buyer's market, so just sell right to them then.
There you go.
Melissa Marr said, "Can I make a wishful thinking prediction? Can some builder somewhere find a way to build an appropriate first-time home, not the beast of a house to have numbers work so they still make money, but a first-time buyers aren't going broke." So apparently she's having a lot of big first-time buyer houses, people getting house poor.
And by the way, in all areas, not just everywhere, build it in an area with, with only $1 million homes. Find a spot and build something that's affordable, and they can still be badass houses. They just can be smaller. Make them smaller so they're affordable.
So drop your predictions. What do you think the months of supply will be? What do you think your market will be like? As you could see, we're taking copious notes so that we could do this next year.
By the way, you did take notes last year. I don't know where those notes went, but you did take notes last year.
I did.
Okay, so now we want to go to prediction 3.
Yeah, prediction 3. What's your big prediction for 2019? That's what we did. What is your big prediction for 2019? All right, Dan, I'll go to you first.
Okay, so you want me to go with what I did predict?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so what I predicted was there will be more Zillow killers.
Is that right? Is that?
I mean, look, I just thought it would be more. Yeah, I'm wrong, but I thought it would be more of like a.
Well, unless you call Op City, you call Op City a Zillow killer. You call iBuyer programs a Zillow killer.
Well, and also just for me personally, I have my own Zillow killer, which I said then. It's a different, you know what I mean? So I'm kind of right, kind of wrong.
Yeah, I would give you a half point.
Okay, I'll take it. So for me, I have a Zillow killer in place. Essentially, all leads steer to me through a few different avenues, and then like you and Frank were saying, got to make those calls, got to stay in front of them. I have that system in place now.
Let's read your quote and see if the viewers can decide. I said agents would figure out how to market things back to themselves, Zillow-esque. That's what that.
And then I made a little side note. Read that one.
He said, agents would figure this out. I say silly things sometimes. I'm going to go with mostly wrong.
Yeah.
Because there's no real Zillow killer out there.
I was right for me.
You're right for you, but no one else.
I just thought there would be more of a push from the MLS, from agents, from everything that we would push back against Zillow and against Truly and against Redfin and against all these other sites.
And instead we're spooning them.
We're holding them tightly and saying, "Oh, come in the house," and we're inviting the vampire inside so they can suck our blood.
That's right. All right, so let's go to some of the bonus stuff. Adam Johnson said Remax will go bankrupt. JK.
Yeah.
Melanie Hayes
said with Remax, and we're far from bankrupt.
Yeah. Melanie Hayes said she was working on ways to drop Zillow. She wants to create control over her leads. We'll have to check back with her.
Chris, so that goes back to my half point.
Chris Leeper said Open Door is going to be huge in his market, so we'll see if that was true whenever he commented. And then Clayton said he would love for listing services to combine in his area, but too many politics for that to happen. So he wanted that to happen. That was a wishful prediction.
Yeah. And by the way, Debbie Rice Miller had some comments on that. Melanie had some comments on that. We have tried that in Southern California. It was horrible. It was a bad idea. It didn't work at all. Melanie said 7 MLSs around her had combined, and I don't remember how she said it was going, but it had happened. But it's just in California, the price points are all over the place and it's too nichey. If you don't know an area, you shouldn't work that area. And I said that on the show too. So
speaking of MLSs,
let's
get Ray's prediction.
Here we go.
Said there would be an MLS killer. The MLS needs to combine local and state listing services to make more of a consumer friendly, and more agents will pull listings off the MLS.
And this is where Debbie Rice Miller jumped in.
Right. I said it better be done in 2019 or agents will start pulling their listing. Has anyone ever heard of the PLS, the private listing service?
Pocket listing service.
Pocket listing service. That's what I meant.
Yeah. Has any show talked about that at all?
Yeah, we did.
Oh, we did.
Yep. The Beard and Real Estate did. Clayton said it was a bad idea. It wasn't a bad idea combining everything. It was just poor execution on it. I think he's right on that.
Yeah.
So I also said, if it doesn't happen by 2019, they'll be killed off by something else coming, like, I don't know, Zillow. Also, Ray said in 2019 will be the year that most realize that video doesn't work. Most agents will realize that video doesn't work. Essentially, agents doing video just to do it, and it won't work, and they'll stop. So the best practices of video will be ignored. I think that's kind of happened. That's I think it kind of needs to shake out another year, honestly. I think there's still a lot of agents jumping into it, but that are not consistent with it. And that's,
so hold up the wrong. You got to hold up the.
I think okay. So on the MLS thing, I think we're correct on that because they just started. And then I'm going to go ahead and probably be wrong in the video just because it hasn't happened yet, but I think it's happening.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So, and also you said, which I think adds to your correctness, which is going to have agents that excel and become influencers, or the ones we look towards, and then the other agents that spend a lot of money and a lot of energy, but they're putting that money and energy just into a video, not to how that video gets the house actually sold. They're just making a video
for them.
Right.
This is a good summary that you notated here. It said MLS is disillusioned. and the video is disillusioned. Kind of wrong on that.
Kind of. I think in a year that was a tough one to predict. But, and I also said, and I'll say it again, I'll say it all the time, I don't think all agents should be doing video.
Yeah.
But we're all told that we have to do video. You shouldn't be going live every day. I don't care who you are. You shouldn't be going live every day. People are going to get sick of you. And you shouldn't be trying to make a funny video every other week or every other listing. You need to make listing videos that mean something about that house, for that house, and sell that house. It's not about you being funny on video. You got to sell that house.
It's not about you. Make your clients the hero.
Right.
Pete Thorpe said, too many regional difference in the MLS. The Bright rollout was and is atrocious. Throwing shade on Bright.
Right, so brought to you by, we don't have
a massive prediction for 2020.
Okay. Did we cover everything? Episode 83. Oh, I already covered that. We've done 100. Okay. Predictions for 2020.
2020 prediction. So drop your off the wall prediction. Clayton says a wishful prediction. NAR starts truly supporting their agents and not big corporations. Pete Thorpe said they should have modeled how HAR handles their business in Houston. Yeah, I agree. All right, so what are your predictions, guys? Drop your predictions. If you're watching this later, we want to hear your predictions for 2020.
Yeah.
Big off the wall. Doesn't have to be market. We've already done the market. What you think the market's going to be like? We've interest rates, so you don't have to do the interest rates.
Well, if you haven't, though, and you're just now joining in, drop those. Where do you think the interest rates will be? What kind of market do you think you'll be in your area?
Right.
And because we usually do national stories, but we are doing our areas specifically for that one. And then now, what's your big, bold prediction? So Ray doesn't have mine on that sheet.
I don't have yours.
I know. I added them after on purpose.
Okay. You could do yours first.
You want me to go first?
You go first.
D. And I actually have two. Sorry, what was that?
D is before R in the alphabet.
Yes, and so is L. E is before L as well.
Yep, there you go. Pete Thorpe, his prediction said Zillow's Flex program will bomb. Clayton Fernando Strim says yes, they should be. He's talking about how they should have modeled it after the HAR.
Okay, so Flex program is the more Op City model where they send us a lead and we pay them after we close.
Right.
So for that to work, you have to actually be sending the leads to agents who close. If you don't, you're just going to be sending these leads and putting all this money towards finding these leads and curating these leads and warming these leads up to have them not close and never be followed up on.
Right.
So I would kind of agree with him there. I think it's a little bit of a too big to fail situation, just like they did with mortgages.
Yep.
It kind of stumbled out of the starting gates, but then they just figured it out. But so what they'll do is they'll steer the Flex referrals towards agents that are already paying for leads or lenders that are already paying for leads. That would be my prediction. That's actually part of what my prediction is. So Kevin Benzinger, Zillow will find their iBuyer isn't as successful as they predicted. They will lose money again. Okay.
Zillow iBuyer.
So, yeah. So Kevin Benzinger, I think I'm saying that right.
That a consumer is going to get stuck in a tough spot after purchasing via iBuyer program and sue the crap out of whatever they fall victim to. Is that your prediction that they're going to sue, or are you just commenting on how they're going to lose the iBuyer system?
I think she's predicting. She's being bold.
Okay, let's go with that. Melissa, iBuyer suit.
Yeah.
iBuyer suit. Pete Thorpe said they need revenue from agents paying for ads that don't work.
Right.
Big Short guy says Zillow's model is the worst he's ever seen. Now, I have to say that they did have more revenue coming in from flips than they did from agents in a recent report, but we don't know what the profit was off of that.
Right. The revenue was a big chunk of their overall growth, but what's the profit?
Clayton Fernando Strom says, I don't think they will bomb. Too many companies do that as it is and do really well, like Referral Exchange and OpCity, etc. So what is your bold prediction, Clayton? Did we get that one? I'm looking. I don't think we have it. No.
So I don't disagree with anything. So I just think Zillow is going to keep pushing to get rid of agents, and the National Association of Realtors will do nothing. So whether or not they push their flex program, or they push the premier agent program, or whatever it is, it's not going to stop. We have to do something big. We have to do something huge to push back and fight back. And that's through what Frank says, is do that grassroots marketing. Get out there, knock on doors, go to your local outdoor mall and talk to people and say, hey, I'm a realtor. Right. Don't go to Zillow. Come to me. You know what I mean? Do that stuff. And without a big push nationwide by every single agent in this country, even the sketchy ones that discriminate against people, a little bit of shade brought to you by, we don't have a sponsor yet.
Yep.
It's going to take that kind of push. And I said, so there is an outside chance that laws will be put in place. Like you saw the thing about the New York State one that Ryan shared?
Yep.
Ryan Bokros, that Zillow misrepresents their marketing and deceives consumers, but it's a long shot. So Zillow's going to keep pushing to become the, this is my prediction. They're going to keep pushing to become the one-stop shop for everything, just like Frank said as well. They're not going to stop. They'll never stop. They want to make money off of every single aspect of this business, and they want to get rid of agents. If you think they don't want to get rid of agents, you are sorely mistaken, and it's going to take a big push for us to fix that.
There you go. Good.
Bold.
Zillow pushes agents out, NAR does nothing.
Boom. Right? There you go.
So it kind of goes along a little bit with what I was going to say. I'm not sure how to find this, but I was going to say that my big bold prediction. I've got two. Number one, Trump wins.
Ooh, you went big. Okay.
I went big. So Trump wins. Hopefully we'll find out by the next show, but I have a feeling there's probably going to be lawsuits involved after. So we may not know until January that it is actually happening, but Trump wins. And
wins the next presidency or wins the impeachment hearings?
Next presidency.
Okay. So he has to not be impeached first.
I would say, yeah. Well, even if he is impeached, even if you impeach him,
I'm sure he likes that.
Impeach Trump. Even if you do impeach him, I think the Republicans still have a good chance of winning because that puts the VP as president, and I think a lot of people like that dude.
Yeah,
which I think would be adversarial for the Democrats. That's why I don't think they ever wanted it to happen. They're just wanting to indict and bring this all up so that they can use it as a campaign thing for next year. Because if it actually happens and the VP is president, there's a lot of people that like that guy. That's like their worst fear. Then he re-runs and he wins. So I'm going to say, I'll say Republicans win. If the impeachment, I don't think the impeachment is going to be successful. First off, it's
so difficult to impeach a president.
What I've read and everything is pretty baseless,
right?
But even if he's like, screw this, I'm just tired of this, I drop out, I still think Pence is probably going to win. So
then it'll be President Pence.
That's the VP. So that's my that's my bold prediction is that Trump/Republicans win. And then on the real estate front,
yes.
I think real estate agents who are employed making a salary versus a commission will increase 10% next year. So in other words,
break that down.
A real estate agent who's no longer working for commission because Zillow gives away part of their commission to consumers who use them. So how is Zillow going to find a good agent to give away that much commission? They're going to hire them as employees.
So the Redfin model grows.
Yeah, the revenue model changes, or the employee model. The Redfin model becomes the new iBuyer model. Where buyers are hooking people up with agents, but they're agents who are salaried. I think that's where it's headed. Fernando Sim says Trump uses tiny little magical hands to boost the economy even more. The economic downturn gets pushed back 4 years.
Support and shade in the same sentence.
His tiny little hands.
That's what we call a tiny little backhanded compliment.
Melissa Mara said agents revolt and take back NAR. That sounds like a wishful prediction, but we can
yeah. And by the way, she did say, I'm predicting and being bold as Dan says, all it takes is one pissed off consumer that has been done wrong. So, I mean, that's the same thing as the class action lawsuit against, for the commission thing.
Pete said, you said Trump wins and Facebook froze in shock. It took a minute to get back writing. Zuckerberg, he hates it, man. Well, cool. Well, I think that's all the predictions for this year. Those are some.
No. I have another one.
You have one more?
Okay. I have one more. Okay, so we talked a lot about this year about buyer's market, inventory, and all this stuff, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to predict, and this is for the next decade. So we have to keep doing the show for at least another 10 years, Ray.
You're going to do a 10-year prediction.
Yeah.
Okay.
So next year, I think I led to it in my type of market. I think there's going to be more inventory. And I think we launched NAR.
We finally launch our own consumer.
We are working on it. And we're also going to get a sponsor for next year. We just have to. We have to have a sponsor for shade.com. We have to. Anyway, I think inventory there's going to be more inventory next year. But I think we're going to start seeing the very beginnings of the silver wave. Not necessarily because they want to sell. Silver wave, meaning the baby boomers are going to start selling more next year. That's why I think it's going to loosen up a little bit.
Okay.
And maybe goes towards a buyer's market, but not a full buyer's market. But that silver wave is going to start next year, because you got to remember, they're now 70, 75, 76 years old. I think it's 45 or 46 they were born, right?
It's just a number. Yep.
Yeah, so they're pushing 80 years old. They're going to have to start selling in the next year, but the next 10 years, because other people have said that the silver wave is not a thing. Oh, it's a thing, and it will happen over the next 10 years. And I think it's going to start baby steps over the next year and the next 2 years.
All right, so I'm making a note of that. So silver wave will start, and the big winners there are real estate agents who learn to be silver surfers.
Clayton with a great one to end on. How many followers will the Bearded Men of Real Estate show increase?
Oh, wait. Let's see. Melissa Marr says, yes, Dan, it will start next year and continue to expand the year after. Nice. Clayton says, how many followers will the Bearded Men of Real Estate show increase? Pete Thorpe says 2,500. It'll increase over 2,500.
So anyway,
or more. How many do you think it'll increase, Dan?
Well, by the way, not likes. Likes aren't the thing. Followers, and we're pushing 1,000 followers right now. So, with our new sponsor that I have yet to procure, I think I like Pete. I'm going to be optimistic and say we're at 2,500 followers.
You're going to go 2,500. We're at 2,500, or we increase 2,500, making it total.
We'd have to go up to 3,500 followers.
At Pete says plus, so he's at 3,500. Melissa Morris does the Price is Right. 2,501. Is that what we're going to be at, Melissa, or is that 2,501?
I think she means at, not increase by.
At. All right. And she's busting out the Price is Right way. Yeah, $1, Bob. $1.
Oh, everyone's over, so I'm going to go with $1.
I like it. Okay, so here's the bold prediction. I think we're going to be at 5,000.
Ooh, I love it. I'm in. I'll change mine to 5,000. Let's do it.
Here's why. We got some big ideas that the BMORE contributors don't even know about yet. And there's some things coming that I think will push this ahead, because basically this show is your show. This show is a show. Clayton says we're at 987 right now. And
those are followers, not likes. I think the likes are at 700 something, but actual followers. Yeah.
Followers we want as many followers as possible. But what I think is going to happen is when you guys see what we start to roll out and how you guys will be featured in some of that, I think you'll love it, and we'll share it. It's the key. If you want us to get to that 2,500 number, first off, we're going to have to share the show a lot.
Yeah.
So if you love the show, please share the show. Even if you don't like the show, share the show and then tell people why you don't like it, because I think even having the opposite opinion would be beneficial. And Pete says 5,001. Pete, I can tell you this for sure. If the day comes next year where we sit at 5,001, as I say, who got the prediction correct, I will unfollow the show. Just to be right.
By the way, you guys that like the show, you don't necessarily follow it automatically. So Pete now likes the show, but Pete, you don't follow the show. So if you want to help your 5,001 prediction, go follow it right now.
That's right. So I'm excited to see what's coming. Yeah, we got some chatter now going in the BMORE Contributors group about keeping some secrets.
Yep.
But
so
I think we're well on our way here.
Just for you guys to be clear, a follow is, like just means you like the page and you support us. And we do love that. We do appreciate that. But a follow, you get notified. Okay. And you can do the see first and all that, but a follow, you get notified when we go live. And then a share, I mean, is huge. If we can get 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 shares per show, that 5,000 number is nothing. You know, that's where, you know, because we do truly, sorry, go ahead, Ray.
I'll just say any other content you see come out that you like, share that too. Hint, hint.
So, but we do truly love doing this show. We do it for free. It takes up usually about a day and a half of our week to prep for it, and then actually do the show. But there's so much information that just Ray and I get out of this. And sorry, I'm getting emotional, but I just love doing the show, and I love Ray, and I love having him as a partner. I feel lucky every week to do this show with Ray, and I feel lucky that all these people in our contributors group you know, are part of this. It's amazing. So I only want that to grow. I love our little community, and I'd love to build on that until we can create our own our
own Agent Support Foundation. And Dan, tell people where they could find you for the rest of the next decade.
D Ludwig Rocks everywhere. DLUDWIGROCKS. Only for the next 12 days, though. 13 days.
Yeah, that's right. For the rest of this decade. Then where are you going to be?
D Ludwig Rocks. DLUDWIGROCKS.
So I am Ray Zorback, RAYZORBACK, wherever good Razorbacks are sold. You can also find it on Instagram. I prefer you follow me there. That way you could connect. It's easier to send me messages on that stuff too instead of Facebook. So
same.
Ray Zorback on the Instagrams, Indeed Ludwig Rocks. Thanks for watching the show this year, guys. It's been a fun year, and we're going to miss you over the Christmas break and New Year break. We'll be back. Ooh, we're going to have to probably, I'm going on a trip on the 7th of January. So we'll have to see exact date when we'll be back. It may be 2 weeks after New Year's before we see another BMORE show, but hopefully there'll be some stuff coming out before then to keep you guys posted. So
that'll be good. And we still, like I said, you still have the contributors group. You want to stay apprised of all the situations, go there, We've only denied one person, but that's because they were ISIS.
Clearly.
So go there, BMORE Contributors with an exclamation point, and you can keep current with us. And then, if there's
a link in the comments too. So if you want to join the BMORE Contributors group, there it is.
And there'll be lots to talk about by that point. So it'll be a nice little break for us. Plus, heart, what is it, Ray? Absence makes the heart grow fonder.
Yeah, there you go. This hat is getting really tight, so we better go.
So we got to go. Love you guys.
Bye.
Bye. Happy New Year.
Merry Christmas. Happy New Year.